few years ago, we had miles, feet, inches, stone, and all these really Stone Age measurements, which I guess some of the British people use, and Americans still use. Well, they didn't really make a lot of sense. I guess it just kind of came along with history, as the way it is things. But, for example, the foot came from King Henry I's right foot. And, depending on what he was wearing, maybe high heels the weekends, slippers in the evenings, his foot would get bigger and smaller, as would his kingdom. So it was a bit dodgy. So this guy Lavoisier, he came along and came up with our lovely metric system. Him and a bunch of French guys tried to metricize everything. Also, while he was at it, he invented with 33 elements. Real impressive guy. So before all this, where we had all these ounces, pounds, stone, and 100-digit weights, it looked bad enough as it was, but try and convert pounds into stone, or remember what stones and pounds are in ounces, and the maths just gets absolute madness, crazy, complicated. Let's not do that. Let's go for 10. So Lavoisier was onto something here, because either he was really good at maths or really bad at maths. But either way, great idea. I love the number 10, and multiplying, dividing by it is simple. Lots of zeros, just adding them on. So we came up with this thing called a meter, and when we were thinking of what we're going to use for our kind of base unit, we were kind of thinking something maybe we can use in every day. So there's no putting something crazy small. So a meter is really good for like measuring the size of a room, or something you walk into on a daily basis, like walls if you're me. And then a kilometer is basically just 1,000 of those. And so what they do here is just have this really little handy system where you just add on a word like kilo, which means 1,000, onto the front of the meter, and you're like 1,000 meters. Oh yeah, it makes total sense. Yeah, and it seems sensible to us, but like from the stones and pounds, this is like sheer genius. And then of course, if you wanted to go maybe smaller than that, you just put another little word, milli, which means 1,000 of. So a meter divided by 1,000, and that would be, the little things in your rulers. So these are some things that maybe go up and down in 1,000. So if I started off with a meter, multiply that by 1,000, I get my kilometer, and I can go again. I can notch that up by multiplying it again by 1,000. I just changed the word from kilo to mega. That means megameter, which is 1,000 meters, and I can go all the way to gigameter, which is 1,000 meters, which is 1 billion meters. You won't see those on road signs, and you can keep going up. I didn't put it in there, but whoa, it keeps going up all the way for measuring distance to planets and that kind of stuff. Same kind of thing again. It gets smaller. If you want to go from meter downwards, you go to millimeters, and just put a little m in front of the meter. So you can check out these little letters. I mean, you might not know the ones for micrometer because it's that crazy little Greek letter, but we're just going to use nice simple letters. And nanometers would be like, lots and lots and lots of zeros before whatever we're measuring. So 0.000, maybe 1, and that'd be microchips, like crazy small things. So the nice thing about this whole thing is that meter, we don't really even have to use just a meter for the kilo and giga. We can use anything in there that's, well, it doesn't even have to be metric. I mean, we could put in, what is metric? It would be grams. That would work perfectly. Kilograms, milligrams, that kind of stuff. We could stick in seconds there, so maybe like you want to measure microseconds or milliseconds on your watch. Real fancy timer. Bytes can go in there from megabytes, gigabytes for your computers. And even a puppy. Yeah, I could stick in a puppy as a unit if I want. I can call it puppy, the international, according to Danny, unit of happiness. And let's say a puppy is, I don't know, the amount of happiness you get from holding a puppy in your hand for 1 second at some body temperature, blah blah blah, real fancy stuff. And so I could describe things like millipuppies or micro puppies as not very happy, Danny, and maybe this guy be like a 5 mega puppy smile. That is like, yeah, that is a happy chimp. So there are little gaps in here. So even though we have this kind of like bigger, smaller thing, there still is gaps in between kilo and mega. I mean, there's loads because they actually don't go up in thousands; they go up in tens, which makes a lot of them. Luckily, we don't need to know all of them. The kilo and the mega are just perfect for us. You might just recognize one of them in there. Hidden in there is a centimeter centi. So centi is just divided by 10. You'll know that from your ruler. And the rest of them, I mean, probably not going to know pico and femto and atto. Yeah, that's more like crazy atomic stuff. Okay, so what's the whole distance measured in? As in, okay, it might seem a silly question, but I've got all these ways of even meters measuring distance. Kilometers, megameters, gigameters, terameters, nanometers, micrometers, and millimeters, and meters. Which one do I use? So which is the original and best? Of course, it's got to be the meter. I mean, the other guys have all these crazy letters in front of them. They are all just meters, but multiplied by something. So this is what we call our SI unit, and our SI unit is the official way of explaining distance to people. Yeah. So generally, when we're looking at a formula, something comes out of distance, we put it in meters straight away without thinking about it, unless someone's told us otherwise. We don't put it into gigameters and just assume these are massive distances. Okay. So there are 7 really official things that they use all over the world, units, and everyone kind of recognizes them except for, America and England and, well, some countries maybe are messing a bit. So they just measure, like I say, mass, distance, time, temperature, current, amount of substance, and brightness. So these are 7 official ones. Puppies not just there yet. Maybe one day, if I have my way, puppies will be an SI unit. Make me famous, vote for me. Letters. We can't have these letters in front of our units if we want to get to SI units. And we also can't have non-metric units. So if you want to get to a SI unit from something you just come across, say you come across, I don't know, millimeters, like, what's the SI unit for this? Okay, firstly, check if it's metric, because, we love the metric system here in Europe, and because it's so much better than all the rubbishy other stuff that they have in other countries. So, okay, let's get rid of gallons, let's get rid of feet, let's get rid of ounces. Ounces. Yeah, see, I don't even need to know that, it's just silly. Okay, those little green letters are prefixes, what we'll call them. As in, they're just like 1,000 or they're 1,000,000 or some letter that represents a big 10 with zeros in it number, which is a multiplier, let's call it, or a prefix. So we can just lose those because, they're just whatever we're talking about times a number, but we want to know what we're talking about. So maybe meters, joules for energy, all these kind of things, seconds, and things come up in physics and chemistry, whatever. And okay, after that we've got to actually that's it. It's actually that simple. All you got to do, make sure it's metric, lose the prefix. There is your, well, maybe not official SI unit, but that's your most simplest form of that unit, which you'd kind of expect to go into straight away. Oh yeah. Alright, well, there is one small exception. That kilogram, yeah, that keeps its prefix. So, the kilogram, I guess because the guys who invented the gram just made it that bit too small. They, well, let's put it this way. They're probably crazy scientists. They probably work with tiny little bits of powder, and have never really been outside their lab into the real world where people don't deal with tiny microscopic bits of powder. And so maybe some guy ventured out and realized, okay, I have to, I've got to knock this up into something bigger. So they went for 1,000. So it's kilogram normally. Okay. So if someone asks you the SI unit of, let's say, mass, you gotta say the kilogram and not the gram. It's the only exception. Everything else you just knock off the prefix.